Thank you, Ruslan, and good morning, everybody. You guys doing well? Good. It is so good to be here. I am truly grateful to Dr. Bongbong and the steering committee, the conference organizers, for creating this event and this moment where we've been able to look at where we are in the journey and understand our moment and rethink these fundamental things about the mission that we're on. So I know that maybe you're like me and you heard some of those statistics and some of those challenges that Dr. Bongbong shared, or maybe you heard Mark McClendon talk about these cultural tsunamis that are coming, and that can be a little overwhelming or maybe feel even discouraging, but I need to tell you I feel encouraged. You know why I feel encouraged? Because of you, because of the people in this room. When I look in this room, the people that I've met, I see incredible people, godly people. I see talent. I see passion. I see faith. You know, just to name a few, I met briefly Berta from Kenya, and she shared about the need to contextualize the gospel, not just for culture, but for the mindset of those we hope to reach. Or did you listen to Vanya? I don't know where Vanya is. She did such a fantastic job talking about teenagers, not just as a mission field, but as a mission force, right? You have all of these young people with their idealism, and they are primed and in a position where they are the most influential to reach that next generation as members of that generation, and to begin asking, how do we help strengthen and equip those who are carrying that testimony at that stage of life to influence their peers? That is a thought that we need to be challenged by and rethink our strategies around. So thank you, Vanya, for sharing that message. And then I've also had the privilege of meeting some of the people who've not necessarily been on panels, but who are incredible testimonies of the people that we are on a journey with. And I'm thinking actually of these two young ladies from Pakistan seated right here, for Rubab and Jessica. These two are amazing. If you have a chance to meet these two young ladies, one of them, and I don't know which one's which because they're like twins and they finish each other's sentences, but one of them has a PhD in biochemistry, and she got that in the United States. She could make a lot of money in the US, but she felt called by God to go back to Pakistan for their Pakistan Sunday School ministries. When I say I see faith and faithfulness and courage, I'm talking about that exact example. And you know what's crazy is this morning I met someone else, Dio, maybe some of you know him from Indonesia. He also has a PhD in biochemistry and was called by God, or in biotechnology actually, and he was called by God to serve as a pastor here in Indonesia. Another example of simple faithfulness and humility to listen to what God is saying and follow that calling. And so when I look at my own story, yes, I had that degree and I had that career, and then I knew God had called me. And I look at the next generation, and even in the last 2 days, to meet people whose journey is very much like mine, where it is simply a question, God, what do you want me to do? And we pursue that guidance from the Holy Spirit, and we just want to walk in that path that He's given us to walk. Why am I saying all of this? I'm saying this because we're on a road, and we've been challenged by the fact that we've never been on this road before. And you know what matters? It's not what's ahead, what are the obstacles, how are we going to do this? What matters and what can bring you joy on this road is to look who you're walking with. Because you go on a long journey, the people you walk with can make that journey incredible and joyful and fun, or they can make it really hard. And when I look at the people on the road, these testimonies, these living, faithful believers walking out the faith, I am encouraged by that. I am truly encouraged by that. So thank you for being who you are and for pursuing Jesus. Thank you for demonstrating your faithfulness in a way that others can see, that we might all be encouraged, because it is who you walk with where you can gain that strength and encouragement. So we've talked about collaboration. Bishop Ephraim, you have done such a fantastic job of setting out that stage of why this is so important as the body of Christ, to be unified, that we have diversity and yet unity. And I love the specific statement about the tribal leader who said, it's not cousins, it's brothers and sisters. So we have been talking about this, and we know the biblical, and we did the survey, and almost everybody agrees. There's always a few who aren't sure. That's fine. But everybody is saying collaboration and unity and these things. But you know what? We've actually been saying this for a long time. And I personally am tired of talking about it, and I want to see it happen. And I want to see it happen in a new and healthy way. And as Ruslan mentioned, I've been working in this area of kingdom collaboration for a while, and it's actually hard. It's not enough to believe that it's a biblical mandate. It's not enough to know that we're brothers and sisters. We actually need new systems and processes and new methods that facilitate kingdom collaboration. If you look at the last century, a lot of the institutions and the networks and the denominations that emerged during the 20th century were based on 20th century thinking. They had hierarchy, they had structure, they had expense. They didn't have today's technologies, so they did the best they could with what they had available. And there is an evolution to those institutions. They change over time because they hear bad things happening, so they pull back control. They see a scandal, so they create a policy. They aren't sure about this, so they hire somebody to do it. And over time, you accumulate layers of structure and cost and policy and control, and they become risk-averse institutions that can barely get their hands out of their own pockets. I know that that might sound harsh, but it's true. For us to innovate for what's ahead, for the challenges of the 21st century, we are going to see incredible things happen. We have to think differently and use new systems and processes of connection. So I am here to introduce you to Bridgely, and the vision of Bridgely is a part of kingdom collaboration, is to unleash the power of relationships, specifically intercultural relationships, and effective generosity to break the grip of poverty on a global scale. Like I said, that's a focus, and you may have heard that about collaboration, there must be shared vision and shared purpose. So Bridgely is really designed around the shared vision and purpose of uplifting those vulnerable people in the world. It is one of the things God has called us to do, and when we collaborate around a purpose like that, I believe the Lord will bless it. So Bridgely, that's bridge with an L-Y, is a new system to support kingdom collaboration. Now, there's technology involved, and technology is just an accelerator. And as you know, maybe you know, when you have cross-cultural relationships, there's a lot of risk for things to not be healthy. And you can look back at decades of mission and of cross-cultural work and see lots of problems, lots of colonialism, lots of issues that show up in that approach. So we don't just want to bring technology without thinking about the design principles of how do we build this in such a way that it truly honors those biblical principles. So there is on bridgely.org a declaration. And I have a print copy here, but I would encourage you to visit the website. It's bridgely.org. And on there is this declaration, and I'm not going to read it all now, but I'm just going to focus on the 6 pillars. We're going to move quickly, and there's a lot to think about in this language. And so take some time, please, read those 6 pillars. And then if you agree with this declaration, feel free to sign it. There's a place there at the very end where you can add your signature. And I would love to see signatures from around the world and get to meet you and take next steps there. So quickly, on the next slide, we'll see the first of these pillars is dignity. And when we talk about dignity, we're talking about a commitment to radically uphold the dignity of people in low-income communities, rejecting ideologies that present, quote, the poor as objects of benevolence, where we're the hero of their story. Instead, we empower work that puts people at the center of their own growth and development. It's extremely important that the foundation of dignity is set, that how we see that person is as a person made in the image of God, a person loved by God, and that when we enter into that relationship, we aren't turning them into the object of our heroic work. This is important for everything. Too much, it's its own message right here on dignity. So I'm going to just keep moving. The next value that is part of the Bridgely Declaration, the next slide, is about relationships. We facilitate relationships to change lives and to promote intercultural solidarity. It's a lot to think about, but intercultural, a unified togetherness, a solidarity across those cultures. The next one, local first. We rally support toward locally initiated work because local ownership is the key to sustainability, and local solutions are best to solve local challenges. When we uplift these kinds of relationships, we want to make sure that it's not one side that's driving an agenda, but rather that local leadership and local vision and local solutions and initiative and ownership are at the heart of that collaborative work. The next pillar of the Bridgely system is transparency. We require transparency as it creates both trust and accountability. And the next, listening. Featured organizations must listen systematically to those they claim to serve, capturing insights and feedback for continuous improvement. If we had a session yesterday on what goes wrong in partnerships, and oftentimes it comes down to a lack of humility, but that shows up in not listening well, and therefore not understanding, and that leads to so many mistakes. The next and final one, decentralization. This is an unusual value, but you've heard the word empowerment. Empowerment gets said, and all the time people say empowerment. What does it mean? It means that you are letting go and allowing those closest to the front line to have the authority to control the budget, to make decisions, and that is decentralizing who does what. It's an important thing for the design of the future. So to wrap all of that up, Bridgely is a new platform. It includes an app. There's technology. If you go to bridgely.org, you can learn more. Also, I will have an interest group discussion at 4:15 in the encouraging room. So if you want to meet with me this afternoon at 4:15 in the encouraging room, I'd love to talk with you more about the Bridgely system because I am here looking for pioneering partners. This system is launching this year, and we're looking for those with the courage to try something new, a platform-based disruptive system for collaborating on kingdom causes. Thank you.